Joining me now, CFP Chad Burton for Ask the Expert. Now, you are a CFP, stands for Certified Financial Planner Practitioner. Not all CFPs, Chad, are created the same. Some are hourly, some are charged by assets under management, some are some sort of hybrid that I can't figure out. What is it that our viewer needs to know about a CFP before they get into a relationship with them?
Well, 20 years ago when I started in the business, it was mostly just commission-based advisors. And I quickly learned that that's not what I want to do. I love the business, I just didn't like the sales part of it, and I think this whole generation is like that. And a lot of people don't know what they're paying. A lot of people know that they have an advisor, they know that they have assets with them, they have different products, but there's no transparency. They don't even know what they're paying. And so that's the first thing that should clue people in. If you don't know what you're paying, if it's not a transparent relationship, then you're probably not in the right relationship. You need to look for a fee-based or fee-only advisor that either charges by the hour or a flat fee, or an advisor that charges based on the assets that they manage, a certain percent per year, for example.
I see that. Do you have any conflicts of interest? What's that mean?
Yeah, conflicts of interest. I mean, these are some questions that you really need to ask when you get into a relationship. How do you get paid? Do you have any conflicts of interest? In other words, do you sell annuities that give you a commission? Do you sell life insurance that pays you a commission? Does the firm that you work for, do they require that you advise them to get into certain funds or ETFs, certain proprietary funds? Because there's even fee-based relationships that are biased because the firm that they're working for says you need to get your people into this portfolio or these funds because they get certain kickbacks from mutual funds. So you need to ask them clearly, how do you get paid? And finally, the important one is, are you a fiduciary? And what the fiduciary status means is that a fiduciary, if you claim that you're a fiduciary, you have to do everything in the best interest of the clients. Fiduciaries typically don't put people in products that they shouldn't be in. They're trying to find investment stocks, bonds, mutual funds, ETFs in the no-load world that are the best for the client. And that's what a fiduciary relationship is. And some people say they are. Sometimes you need to ask them to put it in writing that they're a fiduciary.
Now, I look at people who accumulate wealth. I look at people who manage wealth. The managed wealth would need a CFP like yourself. But people who are accumulating who have children and thinking about college, they may need a CFP, but they may not be worth $250,000. What should they do? Well,
I really try to encourage people and do a radio show to the fact that please, try to get educated on your own. Try to get your first 100 to 200,000 saved up in your 401k, Roth IRA, and index funds and ETFs that you can buy almost for free now at brokerage firms like Schwab and TD Ameritrade. So try to do it on your own for your first 250,000. It's easier to find a fee-based advisor when you have over 250,000 in manageable assets. But if you just don't understand money, if there's concepts that you need help with, maybe it's budgeting, maybe it's just, hey, I need a 5-year plan to get me set in the right direction, you need to look for an hourly or a flat fee advisor. And those a lot of times you can find in your area at a place called napfa.org. That's napfa.org.
I don't have a BMW, but if I did, I would take it to a certified BMW specialist to work on it. Right. A lot of people, there's good advisors, there's bad advisors, good mechanics, bad mechanics. As far as the bad advisors go, what should we be on the lookout for to say, here's a flag, I shouldn't be working with them?
Right. Well, if somebody comes to you and you're trying to get some investment help and some planning help, and the first thing they do is sell you a life insurance product as an investment, they may believe in it. That's how they were trained. And a lot of people get into the business that way and then realize that it's not the right thing to do. But if the first thing that they do is have you get into an insurance product as an investment, it's likely a bad relationship. Also, non-traded REITs or private REITs, those are, FINRA's after those left and right as oftentimes a bad, misunderstood, high-fee vehicle. And a lot of times annuities that have long surrender charges, like 7 to 10 years, where they say, hey, you can get into this product, there's all these great bells and whistles, but by the way, you can't leave for 7 to 10 years. That's not a good relationship. A good financial plan means flexibility. If I put somebody in something and it doesn't look good in 6 to 12 months, I want to be able to move it without any major fees.
Term life insurance, there's a phrase in the industry, buy term, invest the rest. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, for 99% of the population it is. I mean, the idea is that the more money you can sock into your 401k, if you put $1 into your 401k, the entire dollar goes to work for you. If you take that home and invest it into a permanent life insurance, you only have 65, 70 cents left over to put it to the insurance. So how can that ever be better than your 401k or a Roth that grows tax-free. And so buying term and investing the difference, the idea is that you do invest the difference though. And in 20 to 30 years when the term policy ends, you have enough assets that you might not need the insurance anymore. So the only time that permanent insurance makes sense is with the ultra wealthy, the ultra high income earners that have maxed out all the retirement options. They've got a bunch of money saved up, or they need it for estate tax purposes and they're worth $5 to $10 million.
We only have time for one more question. Are no-load annuities a good thing or a bad thing for clients?
They can be a good thing. No-load annuities can be a good thing if you're, within 5 years from retirement or in retirement, and you're looking for the ones that offer guaranteed lifetime sources and the ability to do a balanced portfolio at the same time.
Let's pull up his contact information. That's CFP Chad Burton. There he is, New Focus Financial, 888-762-2423. The website is newfocusfinancial.com. This is a call-in show. Pick up your phone. Give me a call, 415-561-8753. Take a break here. Be right back in just a couple minutes.
The news and views expressed on this program are not necessarily those of Cron TV, its management, or advertisers. Consult a broker or advisor before taking any action on the stocks mentioned on this program.